Welcome back to the Seen It All podcast, a podcast made by the casual movie fan for the casual movie fan. Today's going to be a little unique episode, just because we're trying to line up a time for where me and Yordy can come back and review another movie for y'all. And we're excited for what we've got planned. We've got a couple ideas lined up, and we're going to try to get those rolling here. But I figured I'd make another post, something quick, nothing, not too long, but it is going to be a little unique. This episode is going to be my top 5 most looking forward to movies of 2026. And then I'm also going to do 2 ones that I feel like have just been, they're going to be mediocre. And that's just my opinion. And I'd be happy to hear y'all's. But all right. So my list starts off, the one I'm, let's say, most excited for is The Mummy. The trailers for this, that I think they just released an official trailer, and it is from the creators of Weapons, and that's on the to-do list for me and Yordy to review, so stay tuned for that. That one's going to be exciting. But that movie just enticed me from, I think, the small clip that they let out a couple weeks ago. That one looks really exciting, and how like this girl goes missing and for some reason gets mummified, and it's been like I don't even know how to go through the trailer, but like this husband and wife have been like looking for her for like 8 or 9 years, and they find her and she's been mummified. So it's kind of like a little spin on, I guess, a modern horror of your child going missing, and then it also has that kind of like sci-fi, almost old time thriller of like The Mummy or like the Egyptian kind of stuff like that. I'm really excited for that movie. I didn't really dive too much into the cast or who's in it. But from the trailer, it didn't look like any recognizable names that stood out to me. So, but I think that one's going to be really, really good. So excited for that one. I can't remember the date of that one. Okay, but that wasn't my number 1. Number 2, obviously this one should be on everybody's hot board, is The Odyssey. The Odyssey by Christopher Nolan. It has a star-studded lineup. You got Tom Holland, you've got Anne Hathaway, you got Matt Damon, and apparently Travis Scott, according to the trailer. So I saw that was trending on social media for a couple of days on how he secretly snuck into the trailer, and people were like, "Whoa, is that Travis Scott?" So hopefully we can listen to some Butterfly and some background music of that movie. But obviously we know Christopher Nolan's background of what he's made so far, and I think this movie is going to be good. I'm really excited to go see it and see what Christopher Nolan's spin of the classic book of the Odyssey, or the story of the Odyssey. And I am kind of interested to see, obviously you've got these big names with Matt Damon. Matt Damon does a really good job of any character or any task he takes on. So I'm really excited to see what he does to it. But I'm also excited to see like what's Tom Holland's role in this film, what's Anne Hathaway's role in this film, and how Christopher Nolan obviously entices every audience he has captured with it, when it goes back to Oppenheimer, when it goes back to Interstellar, when it goes back to Inception. How ingrained is the musical score of this movie gonna keep guests, even maybe in the younger generation, going to go see this movie, enticed throughout the film. But I am really excited about that film, and just what Christopher Nolan's going to do, his spin on that classic film of the classic book of the Odyssey. Number 3, we're going to go Hail Mary. So apparently that was a book. That was just brought to my attention as of a couple days ago by Yordy. He has actually read that book. So I'm actually excited to go see that movie with him, and then talk about that movie from his lens, from reading the book and my lens of not reading the book and what my thought processes of that is, and just seeing like, what they left out, what they missed, what they get right. And I have heard from him so far, from YORDY, is they kind of spoiled like the whole, not the whole thing, but like the major, pinpoint plot of the, like his journey, I guess, that they were hiding in the book, that makes it, or that doesn't like come up until later in the book. And so I am kind of interested to see like what is the plot of that movie. I know Ryan Gosling is the lead, so that should be good. I'm also like, I feel like since Ryan Gosling is starting to get into these more, I guess not I guess you would say action, more sci-fi kind of films. It's weird kind of seeing him, add that genre into his, his cabinet, because his main films is obviously, you got The Notebook and you've got some others, but overall, Hail Mary, I think I'm kind of excited for. I saw the trailer, I guess whenever it came out, and I thought it was good. I think it's going to be, from my perspective of not reading the book, I couldn't tell you what the plot of that movie could be and where they can take that film. But I am excited to watch that. So that was number 3. Number 4, we're going to go Sunrise on the Reaping, The Hunger Games. A movie set, I think, 24 years before the first Hunger Games. So I think that's really exciting. I think the last film was just brilliant, giving us the story of President Snow and what's her name? I can't remember her name. But that actor, she gets a lot of heat, but she gave that performance everything she had, and I thought she did a really good job of that. Obviously, the Hunger Games has like a huge following, so when you're trying to do Haymitch's story, I think it's important. I think they've got the right cast from who I've seen in it, so I'm excited to see that. But from what I've seen of the trailer, I think it's going to be good. I'm really excited to get that one under my belt, and me and YORDY can talk about that whenever we go see it. I think we may go see it separately, because I know both of our wives will probably eventually want to go see it. But number 5, I am like, it's not like I'm excited to just go see it, but also like, is Spider-Man Brand New Day. I'm just kind of getting to the point to where, like, what else can you do with Tom Holland as a Spider-Man? Obviously, I think this has the potential to bring in into the Spider-Verse characters, so that should be exciting. But it's just, at the same time, I'm not, dying to go see that. I know we've got Avengers Doomsday coming out, and that's going to be the big headliner of what's Robert Downey Jr.'s role, and obviously as Doctor Doom, and is there going to be any connection to, it's just like an alternate timeline, and especially get Chris Evans coming back as Captain America. And like, I'm excited for like this slate of Marvel movies, but at the same time, I feel like Marvel, to me, especially the Avengers movies, have kind of just like, I know there's a lot of comics out there. Stan Lee made a lot of fabulous comics, but after Endgame, I feel like they've just kind of gone flat. I don't know. Obviously, I really loved WandaVision. I really loved Loki. I thought Loki was up there with their best Marvel that they've made. The Captain America and Winter Soldier was good. I'm trying to think of the other ones that they made. But anyways, I thought those were good. But Marvel, as of late, like, I feel like they're trying to spark a lot more interest in bringing these characters back. These historic actors, and who they portray: Captain America, Iron Man, and even though they may not bring Iron Man back, but like having Robert Downey Jr. back on the screen for a massive Marvel movie. It is going to bring a lot of eyes, and they're going to sell a lot of tickets to that. But I am excited to just go see both Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday, just because, it's a Marvel movie. You guys see what their ideas are and how, they integrate, Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. Besides, if they even have a critical role besides like a flashback for 10 to 15 seconds. So that was my top 5 movies that I'm excited for. We had The Mummy, The Odyssey, The Hail Mary, or not The Hail Mary. I think it's just Hail Mary. Sunrise on the Reaping, and then 5/6 Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now I'm going to talk about 2 movies I think that are overhyped, but they will get attention. They'll draw a big crowd. For this first one, this is going to may make some people angry, but I don't think the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is really necessary. I think that first season, I liked when they brought back, or when they integrated Luke Skywalker, coming back and searching for Grogu. I can't remember what season that was. That may have been 2 or 3. It was great up until that point. And they kind of, I don't know, that universe is so unlimited that they don't have to have any connection to the main timeline of the Skywalker series. And to me, when it comes to big series like that or universes, I like tiebacks to the original timeline, because that's what made us fall in love with that universe to begin with, is that timeline, is Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker. Don't even get me started on the sequels. Besides, I think the first one, Force Awakens, was pretty good. But everybody likes that main timeline. Everybody wants small connections to that timeline, even if it may be small. Like, I'm not saying Rogue One was a small connection, but Rogue One was fantastic in my eyes, for a non-Skywalker, character playing Skywalker in that film. But I thought it was fabulous. I went and saw that in theaters, and it was really good. Like, you've got the Endor. I've heard that's good. I may dive into that eventually, but I'm not totally sure. And well, I get it. It's kind of like Marvel, how Marvel has kind of strayed off the main timeline here, and especially Loki. You kind of get confused on what timeline you're on. But with Star Wars, like, I feel like they got to get back to making connections to the regular timeline. And I think Mandalorian and Grogu movie, I'm just not sure what else can you tell. Besides, I saw where they're bringing like Jabba the Hutt's son. So that'll be decent. I'm probably not going to go see that in theaters. I'll just wait till it's on Disney Plus about 2 months later. But I'm not really excited for that movie. I may turn it on, nonchalantly whenever it comes on for free. I'm not going to go spend my money on that specifically. But this one's also, that's my first not really excited for movie. Second movie is, I hate to say this, but Toy Story 5. I think we've seen enough. The trailer, okay. The trailer was hilarious. The balding of Woody, that I thought that was kind of funny. But I think like that franchise has spanned, longer than I've been alive, and it's just like, but they did pick a plot where it is kind of relative to the time, to where we're seeing. I mean, look around when you're out. How many kids are actually playing with like toys nowadays, like dolls or whatever, instead of a screen? And I think the thought of the plot is right. It is something that is realistic, but like at the same time, they probably should have just ended after 3. 3 was a perfect ending. 3 was you can't get much better than that. And I think them just keep pushing these Toy Story movies out. And it's a ginormous brand. Yeah, I don't blame them. It brings in a lot of movies. You're going to get a lot of eyes from a lot of generations, not just younger generation, of course. But at the same time, where Disney's at with movies, is really, I feel like it's a not really well thought out process of, are we going to try to continue these franchises? Because I know Frozen 3 is coming out. That's a big brand, obviously. And like in the back of my mind is, are they going at this from a perspective of that their original ideas as of recently, or is it because of they haven't had much success in the box office from these recent original ideas as a, as a company? And then they're like, okay, well, we know Frozen's going to grab some eyes and it's a big brand. We know Toy Story is a big brand and it's going to draw some eyes. And are they just going to keep falling back onto those because these original ideas are just not as enticing as, as these other historic franchises, Toy Story, et cetera, et cetera. And I feel like with Disney, they're in a weird spot because it's just, you've got to get the parent first before the child. And how do you entice that? Obviously, you start with Toy Story. It's a brand that, is older than me, like I said. So every parent should be like, oh, I remember when Toy Story first came out, or I remember when Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3 came out and I was a kid. So why not take my kids? And it's going to be a good, heartfelt movie, and it's going to be written well for the most part. But I just feel like they've done too much, and I feel like Disney themselves has put them in a corner of where they have to do this. They have to have these sequels in order to make up for, not make up, but to almost delay, like, for them making ideas for what new content they can make, original ideas. Like, that's another thing. I'm a semi big Disney guy, or I just enjoy Disney. And I think the originality of ideas, whether it be Disney parks, whether it be Disney movies, has kind of gotten lackluster. Not as, eager to see as much as their films as I used to, obviously. But, and I think it's just they're in a transition spot now with their new CEO. And I think he's going to lead them in a good direction of, I think, film and park wise. So, but anyway, that was my subtangent of where Disney's at as a movie producing company. I feel like they need to get back to what they were and what their original vision was originality, and not just piling on these sequels and hoping that they engage the parent just because they have some emotional connection to the originals. So, but yet, if it works, it works. So with that, that is my top 5 most looking forward movies of the 2026 year. I'm excited to go see those movies with Yordy and my wife whenever we do, and give a review for you guys and see if we recommend it for y'all, and what, and we'd be excited to hear what y'all have to say. So thanks for listening to this episode of the Seen It All podcast. If you enjoyed it at all, leave a review, leave what movies you'd love to see us do in the future, me and Yordy, whenever he comes back. Comment any changes to the podcast that you may like. Let us know. We would really appreciate it. But until then, until the next episode, you've seen it all.